All right, you guys, I got one of the most intriguing wide receivers in this draft class in 2021. And I want to talk about this guy on today. He's from Florida State. He's about 6'4", 210 pounds. They call him Scary Terry, but you may know him as Tamorrion Terry. And I want to talk about this kid. I want to deep dive into this guy because I definitely think that this kid is box office. I think that this kid is very, very talented. I think that this kid can be a steal on draft night for whatever team drafts him. The talent that this guy has, to me, is second to none. He's one of the most vertical threat wide receivers in this draft class. Scary Terry is something to be terrified of. This guy reminds me of Randy Moss. I remember when Randy Moss came into the league and how he was terrorizing defenses. This kid, separation is like no other. He brings the total package. Everything that you want in a wide receiver. Now, there's some things that he needs to work on, yeah, and we're going to get to those things. But I definitely think that Scary Terry, Tamorrion Terry, is one of the best receivers in this draft class. And I know we talked about so many receivers. Tylan Wallace. We talked about Cade Johnson. We talked about Marquez Stevens. Anthony Schwartz. There's so many different receivers. But today I just got to bring your attention to get to know and watch this kid. My eyes lit up when I saw this guy play football. I don't think that there's any receiver in this class that gets separation like him. And if you draft this guy, you're drafting a winner. Because I think that this guy's a stud. I think at the next level, he gains a few more pounds. And he's going to be terrorizing the NFL. Let's talk about what he did collegiately. In his freshman season, he caught 35 passes for 744 yards and 8 touchdowns. And he averaged per catch 21.3. So you see what I mean. This guy is a vertical deep threat. His sophomore season stepped it up even more. 60 receptions, 1,188 yards with 9 touchdowns. And then in his junior season, he ended up getting hurt this season, but he had 23 receptions, 289 yards, and 1 touchdown. And he only played 4 games in the season. He had surgery in October of that season. And I would just want to talk about his strengths and weaknesses as well. His strengths, he's big, he's explosive. He has strong hands, great hands. He accelerates through the route scheme. He looks to stack the cornerback. Once he's on top of that cornerback, he's looking to dominate the 50-50 ball. Maintains top positioning down the field. He has a major second gear. Did you hear me? He has a major second gear that most receivers in this draft class do not have. He plays to the strength, to bully pass, grabby man coverages. He can catch it with the blaze down the field. Against soft slant coverages, he uses his frame and his body well. I'm telling you guys, you better watch out for Scary Terry. This dude is electrifying. He reminds me of Randy Moss and T.O. I'm not going to even kid you not. This guy, adding at least 10 more pounds of muscle on his body is going to be something to reckon with once he gets into the NFL. And he's drafted to the right team and right situation for him. He's going to be scary, guys. He's going to be scary. We talked about it, guys. It's so many wide receivers coming out this year. And I definitely wanted to put you on notice. If you have not looked at his tape, the tape don't lie. If you haven't seen his body of work doesn't lie. Scary Terry is the real deal. And whatever team drafts him is going to get a stud at wide receiver. This guy can fly. Yeah, he has weaknesses, and we're going to talk a little bit about those. Some of his weaknesses that I saw on the field, he loses momentum getting in and out of his breaks at times. His catching techniques needs a little bit of work. He needs to focus on not dropping the ball. Those are things that need to be cleaned up. And those can be cleaned up once he gets in the NFL. They can coach that up because the talent is there. It's undeniable talent there. And I'm telling you guys, go watch the tape. The tape don't lie. No other receiver that I saw in this draft can get down the field like Scary Terry. And there's a lot of receivers coming into this draft class that are fast and speedy. And he happens to be one of them. But he also needs to work on his shoddy hands and inconsistent ball tracking down the field. And not be rushing through his routes. A couple things that I saw how Florida State used him. They used him as a vertical threat only. I think in the NFL, you have to be able to use a guy like this all over the field. And he has to be able to expand his route tree. And I believe once he expands his route tree, he's going to be even better. But I'm telling you guys, the tape does not lie. Scary Terry could be a top 10 wide receiver in this draft class. He is one of the most electrifying wide receivers that I've seen in a very, very long time. And there's a lot of receivers coming out this year, but I'm really high on Scary Terry. Go watch the tape, guys, for yourself because the tape doesn't lie. Peace.